Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to languages for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your Keeper Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in the Egypt chapter. So when last we left our investigators, they had come out of a pyramid after some rather trying experiences in it, and they have found their way to a local hotel. It's not so much a hotel as it is we'll say a halfway house that Otto has been able to find you a place in, but it has enough space and rooms for those of you who need to sleep and rest, and it is off the beaten path, likely something that is a little bit more low profile, which is probably up the alley of some of our investigators. Speaking of which, we'll introduce them now. To my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Maeve O'Shea, and I don't like being that close to people.
Yeah, it was rather strange. You don't really have the mothering vibe to anybody, seemingly, but the person sitting to your right, who is...
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and I don't want to be alone anymore.
Truly, no Lillian is an island. At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'll be playing Jack Doyle, and tonight we're going to be doing a Delve into the Deep 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Certainly. I cannot wait. To your right.
Slani, I'm playing Adelsar, and I feel happy.
Oh, so happy. Happy.
Just before they knock me on the head and throw me on the dead cart.
Certainly. That's coming. And to your right.
This is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach. And honestly, I don't see what was so wrong. It was a fun time.
Certainly, in last episode, you met a wonderful friend from your early childhood.
She was lovely.
Yes. She's asked you to come visit her and her friends at the Clive expedition.
I will.
I have no doubt that you will. We are again in the Missing Sam formation. As you undoubtedly know, Sam is a little busy, and I'm sure that we'll be talking with him relatively soon. And so the inside of this rather dingy flop house here in the area around Mycernius is mostly meant for travelers and tourists. It's not a long-term bedding solution, but that's really not what you were after anyway. You want to get out of the heat. You needed to get your bearings. And for some of you, you need the ceilings to stop breathing. Now that you've had an opportunity to take a breath, it is, we'll say, mid to late afternoon on the day that you were inside looking at Nito Chris's antechamber and clearly the tunnels beneath therein. So what are the investigators choosing to do?
I'm going down.
And going down where?
Back into the tunnels.
Oh, okay. You're gonna regroup and go back down into the tunnels?
I mean, we already rested, right?
You go back to that flop house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You stay the night.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You rest and recover. Yes?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. And so, Doctor, if you would make me a medicine roll.
I would love to. That is a 15. Actually, that is an extreme success. 15 under.
Very good.
82.
Otto, you will heal a single hit point, and then you will also roll a d3.
That is a 2.
Okay, so you heal 2 more, for a total of 3.
Doctor, I could use a little more sprucing up.
All right. I'm above half now.
Well, you're not feeling so well, Jack. You seem hale and hearty.
No, remember I got the ribs kicked out of me.
Well, right here.
Actually, feeling his ribs, they feel really, really stiff. It's like pushing against a brick wall.
I guess check his general condition, but in that area, check for internal bleeding because I don't want there to be.
Reasonable.
Yes, 72 under 82. So
Yeah, there's no internal bleeding. It's like patting a stone statue.
you need to relax, Jack. This area here, favor it a bit.
Oh,
I will take a look at it again tomorrow.
okay.
So with a successful medicine roll, you'll heal a D3 hit points if there are any hit points to be regained.
2.
Okay.
Go over to Miss O'Shea. Sit down in front of her and begin looking her in the eye, like, as a doctor would with the light and everything. Oh, I see. Yeah. Just making sure you are still here.
Oh, okay. Did I give you any indication that I wasn't?
Just making sure you are. Boot the end of her nose and stand up.
Are you feeling better, Lillian?
And then
I look
head over
over it.
to Lillian. Oh, by Lillian while they're talking.
I look over at Jack. Yeah, I don't know what happened in there, and I unconsciously scooch closer to Jack as to not feel so alone,
Certainly.
not uncomfortable close.
I don't think there's close enough to be uncomfortable for him.
It's more a subconscious thing for you now. When you talk to people, you're going to want to be half a step or a step closer to them. You're not going to want to be far from people.
My personal bubble has gotten a lot smaller.
It's less that. It's more like your personal bubble needs to be rubbing up against someone else's personal bubble.
Ugh.
So to speak.
Right.
Before I rest, I'm going to look over Slander, make sure he's doing all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure he's not wounded.
Does not seem to be.
And then I will say my prayers and go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, sing, but yes.
Probably hum at the very least.
Yeah.
The humming in the rest of the room, given the fact that you're kind of out in the open, as this is we'll say traveler's flop house, is noticeable by everybody who's around. The humming has a harmonic resonance to it. And it's one of those resonant sounds that gets into your eardrum. And it's a lot easier to take here rather than in the tunnels, Jack. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the tunnels kind of amplify it. But that said, with the rest of the day prepared, you rest, you relax, and you prepare to meet the tunnels head on the next day.
Yeah, so in the morning, I'm going to approach Jack. I have an experiment. I noticed when we were down there, and if I sing, a path lights.
Okay. You think it might light the way?
Maybe.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
Because if she was also a speaker of the Nile, then that would mean that temple or her pyramid was made for that.
I mean, we might as well try.
I just wanted to give warning because I don't want to make people funny.
Yeah, we'll try it out.
I want to do some deep thinking while they're strategizing things.
Certainly.
So we went in this place ostensibly looking for a sarcophagus or where a sarcophagus was that got looted.
Yes.
We didn't find any evidence that there was a sarcophagus anywhere, let alone one that was looted. And if it went into the tunnels, we would have noticed that there would have been drag marks or...
Correct.
So either it was never here or it just was...
No, you have photographic evidence in the papers. When they found it, there were pictures published of this sarcophagus, the outer portion of it, right? Right? Not the actual mummy or the inner sarcophagus, but the big stone outer sarcophagus was photographed. So it was in the room. There is evidence that it is in the room. It was in the paper. The papers are convinced that late at night, thieves came and stole it.
From what I know and understand about such things,
Yes,
there's no possible way it could have gotten out of there.
correct. But you are also on the other side of the line between the learned and the unlearned. From the people who accept whatever is shoveled to them via the paper and the learned people who know better. You exist on the other side of that line. You know it's not possible to be done without a team of people and likely an arduous, long process to pull something so heavy.
And an incredibly visible process, too.
Yes, and Mycernius isn't far from Cairo. It does not make any sense, any reasonable sense. And then again, there aren't supposed to be tunnels under the pyramids. That is a massive revelation that there are these tunnels. Otto has found evidence that there are tunnels under this tomb that was not known before you stepped in there.
Yeah,
It's a massive discovery.
but it just leaves me even more confused than ever.
Understandably so. So that morning, the group is heading up to the pyramid again.
Yes.
Right.
I assume then you're making preparations gear-wise for people to be slightly better outfitted.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long do I think Jack still has?
At least until midday. So if
Okay.
your vision is you need to get up and moving with the morning sun.
Right.
To preserve whatever effect is left on him.
Okay.
So the group needs to get going. At least that's your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start
Yeah, and I don't want to dawdle either, so we need to get this done as rapidly as possible.
You head back up to the pyramid. You are allowed entry into the pyramid at Mycernius. And now that you don't have to wind your way through, you know exactly where the antechamber is. You know exactly where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive as one of the first groups in the pyramid today.
Okay.
Now, the guards that surround this pyramid, the people from the Egyptian government that are here, they just watch the outside. They don't really
Right.
patrol inside.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially here to make sure people don't walk out of the pyramid with, artifacts or pottery or, chiseled pieces of hieroglyphic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you go directly to the antechamber then
Yes.
Yeah.
and access the secret door, which allows you entrance into the tunnels. Yes?
Mhm.
Yep. And then close it behind us.
So you are again inside this main tunnel. Now, the main tunnel is, again, hewn stone, obviously man-made. It's approximately 8 feet wide and approximately 8 feet tall.
I'm going to, as soon as we get in and get the door shut and stuff, I'm
Mhm.
going to start singing either devotionals, praises, to see if the phosphorescence happens again and if it's almost like a path.
In little spots around here, it doesn't seem to lead anywhere that you're not. One thing you do notice, though, is that your snake does seem to react to your voice, and it moves around underneath your clothing.
Okay.
It almost seems to be exercising.
Okay.
So you feel it wrap around your waist, and then it moves up your back and then up over your over your shoulder and back down and on your leg, and it is definitely affected by you utilizing that tongue.
Okay. Well.
Who's in the lead, by the way?
I am.
All right. I assume that you are going to continue straight down the path and
Yes.
then around the hook to where you were.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to that fork where the path sits. You guys last time went slightly left and encountered those two creatures. Now
Right.
the two are gone, obviously. Will you be continuing straight on that path or going left?
Let's continue. Let's go left because isn't that where they came from?
It is where they came from, yeah.
So it makes sense that they might be guarding the correct path.
You continue left a bit, and then there is another path that goes left about 20 feet after that. And here along the walls in this left path, there are a great many very tall hieroglyphics that have been chiseled into the wall here. And you see a great many beasts, these half man, half animals.
Can I read them?
Sure.
Like,
mean-
do they have names?
Not so much names, but the impressions that you get off them, right? So there's a bull.
Yeah.
There's one with a cheetah head. There's a snake head one.
Right.
There's a falcon. There's a crocodile. They go through the very common animals of the Nile Delta,
Uh-huh.
but they're all very powerfully built.
So
And
these are like guardians?
yes, it does appear that they have that same sort of feel to them as far as the imagery here is that they're protecting the area.
Okay.
And they seem to be called the Children of the Sphinx.
Do I know what their allegiance? Is it allegiance to the queen or is it allegiance?
It's hard to say,
Okay.
but they are protective spirits. And so if they're not allied with the queen, perhaps they're allied with whatever calls this place home.
Okay.
This path continues for about another 20 feet past these hieroglyphics, and then it turns left again, almost back in on itself. And this path is no more than maybe 10 feet deep, and you see tiny cots set up, 4 of them. It looks like maybe places to sit. They're very basic. They're almost
Is there writing in that wall? Or on those
not back
walls?
here.
Okay.
But it dead ends here.
It does dead end.
Okay, so we'll turn back.
Is there any belongings or anything?
Nope, there doesn't seem to be any belongings, although you smell some, what smells like, animal droppings.
So if you guys killed 2 beans yesterday, that means there's 2 more wandering down here.
4 more.
4 more.
Wait, how many cats were there?
There's 6.
Oh, okay. Well,
Maybe
Lillian doesn't math.
there might be 4 more down here.
Well, I'm going to keep singing. And hopefully, maybe, I don't know, give our intention that we're not here to harm, rob, or steal.
Mhm.
Basically, out to these, guardians.
You turn back around then, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. Head back the way you came and then return back to the wider path. You start getting an idea, Otto, just visually, of when the turns are off the main, what you think is the main path here. The main path is noticeably hewn and noticeably 8x8. And in some of these places, you're realizing that the tunnel size shifts to smaller sizes. And so maybe those are less important areas.
Okay, so we'll stick to the main path.
And if you stick to the main path, you come upon a couple of other breaks. But as you continue on, I'd like everyone to make me a listen roll.
37 out of 88.
Look at you with the listen.
Hmm.
76 over 47. So nope.
65 over 40. Don't hear a thing.
10 out of 20.
7 under 68.
Wow.
Fantastic.
An extreme.
Okay, so for the extreme success roll, Doctor, you hear a series of voices down the tunnel, one of these side tunnels that you pass. And the language is unfamiliar, but you almost get the sense that something is calling to you eagerly.
Stop at the entrance to that side pathway and just kind of look down that pathway for a moment.
It's fairly dark. even with torchlight, you only get about 20 feet. There's a certain smell down here too. There's a dampness that you were not imagining. And the air isn't by any means clean.
To the group, who gestures down, kind of taps his ear, points down the hallway.
I'll shine the torch down there.
Those of you who had the hard successes on listen, you hear those voices too. And you also hear maybe footsteps. It's fairly far off. But there's some movement. Something is moving down there and talking.
What language?
Not English, that's for sure.
Okay, is it Latin, French, or the other one?
The other one. That's great. It is not the other one. It is not Latin or French.
Latin, French, or C.
Sadly, your guide did not roll high enough.
Cool.
Everybody knows that she only knows one language. Python.
Parcel tongue.
I'm going to need you both to leave now.
Are you sticking on the main path still?
Well, he was interested in having us go down that path, so maybe we'll go down the side path.
You go down this side path.
I want to keep the lights low.
Okay. As you move down this side path, you realize the tunnel walls are beginning to narrow. It's slight at first, but after a good 10 or 15 meters, the path goes from maybe 6 or so feet wide to like 4.5. And you can tell after a while, it eventually T-junctions, and you have to pick left or right.
Does Slander have a preference? Is he uncomfortable?
No, not while you're singing or while you're humming.
Doctor.
You think left, Doctor.
Gestures to the left.
Okay.
I'm feeling this way.
Do I feel anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. I would like a luck roll from everyone. Not a group luck roll,
Oh, good.
a luck roll.
For you guys.
37
Oh
out
my
of
God.
67.
Okay.
41 under 81.
Okay.
79 over 60.
Very good.
86 out of 82.
Okay.
100 over 3.
Wow.
Oh, you made it too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. For those of you who failed your luck roll,
Wait, this is 2 stars. Is that
Yeah,
that's
100.
100, right? Okay, yeah.
that's a
100.
hundo,
Okay.
Chief.
Yep. Just making sure.
You maxed the meter out.
I sure did.
So the group is moving forward after this left pathway that the doctor has chosen. Jack, you're in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss O'Shea, are you in the front or the back, you figure?
I'm probably behind Jack.
Okay.
A, so I can make sure he doesn't go squishy. And B, so that my voice will
Sure.
also project forward.
So the group moves over a specific spot here in the corridor, and the ground gives way. And as it gives way, Jack and Maeve are on solid ground. And those of you who are not on solid ground begin to fall. I'm going to give all of you a dexterity roll, right? Hard.
Spend all your luck except for you.
I still have 2 I could spend. This is a dex roll.
You want to
sir.
trust his intuition.
That's
Not
an extreme
anymore.
success. 4 under
Fantastic.
55.
11 out of 90.
I am spending 4 luck to make it an extreme success. 14 out of 70.
Okay, so the doctor and Audle claw at the walls to slow themselves as they head down. Lillian, you manage to utilize your compatriots as a cushioning device, and
As
you kind
well
of
as-
latch onto them as the 2 of you, the 3 of you in total fall. And so you fall 20 feet. Collectively, you'll all take 4 points of damage. So you fall, and at the bottom of this chasm, this 20-foot pit is a series of what appear to be bones. Jack and Maeve, you can react now to what you've seen or what had happened behind you.
Well, I immediately go to the edge and shine the light down there. You okay? What's going on?
You look down into a pit of bones.
Oh, and 3 people.
We might be the first people down here to survive the fall.
Well, you're not out yet.
Yeah, but we're done falling. Well, Doc is down here.
Yep.
Dusts himself off, help Lillian and Audle up. He takes a look amongst the bones down here. Obviously, there's a whole lot of people who fell for this pit trap before and didn't fare as well.
Yeah. As is evidence that the walls here are pretty sheer. And there's a whole lot of claw marks in the stonework here.
Doc is suddenly feeling not quite as optimistic as he was before. We seem to be okay, Jack. But getting out is going to be problematic.
Yeah.
I am going to start looking around the bones down here.
Mm-hmm.
If these were Tomb Raiders, they were equipped. More than likely.
Yeah.
There'd be bits of rope and
Yeah, there's probably some rope down here. Maybe if you collected all the bits of rope, you could make perhaps something.
Sort of torch.
Well, maybe something that would give them an opportunity to yank you all out.
yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't bring rope. I thought we brought stuff
Well,
for-
we don't really have rope. I mean, we have whatever equipment we have.
No, I think you guys got rope.
No, yeah, there was one point where
Yeah.
Sam made sure everybody had
Okay.
like climbing gear
Well,
or
then-
something. I thought.
Then I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm gonna tie a loop in the end of the rope and
Mhm.
toss it down.
So it's a climb roll to get out. Those of you who have the rope, it's climb with advantage.
Is there any? Do I see any? Obviously, these are bones. Clothing as well. Everything. Their accoutrement.
No.
No, just bones. We should
Mm.
probably hurry.
Yeah.
There's no like tunnels or anything under there, like no openings.
Does not appear so. In fact, Doctor, the bones here are really clean.
Yeah, you got to get out of there.
Like-
Actually, I pick while they're climbing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let Lillian go first.
Well, it's great for my 34 out of 20.
Did you do advantage?
You have an advantage on the roll.
Actually, you know what? There's a
You gotta
loop at the
reroll your
end.
tens die.
You're fairly small. We could probably pull you out too.
Well, it's a 54.
So you hustle off the rope and can't seem to get your footing on the sides of these walls.
Put your foot in the loop, and I will pull you
Biology
out
on one of these bones.
Okay.
with an 8. So yeah,
No, 95 over 82.
That's got to be human.
Yeah.
Are you yanking?
yeah.
Her
I rolled an 8.
You hold onto the rope, Lillian, and Jack pulls you out.
Okay.
I'm watching behind,
Mhm.
like back to back with Jack. So.
Yeah. The issue is that there are only so many torches. There are 2 sides of this hole now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to, occasionally look around.
Well, the other side of that hole is on the other side of the hole.
That's true.
Unless it's the cheetah who could leap it. But
Listen, just because we have all the horses doesn't make us right.
Right. So, gentlemen, if you would, climb rolls. And Miss O'Shea, while you're watching Jack work with the rope to get your compatriots back up, you get the...
I'm not watching Jack. I'm watching behind Jack.
Sure, but obviously he's in your field of vision.
Right.
You feel like you're being watched while this happens. There is a presence here that is paying attention to what you're doing. You just can't see it.
Okay, so there was a snake, there was a cheetah,
A bull,
a bull.
A crocodile.
We killed him.
a falcon.
Ex crocodile.
Well, after a while.
Falcon.
Right. Climb rolls, gentlemen.
A 17 under 20.
You get up.
Not a single success.
Awesome. What's your size, Doctor?
My size, doctor sized. Size 65.
Jack, if you want to make a strength roll, you can pull the doctor out.
I am doctor sized.
Yeah, 34 under 60.
Okay. It takes the two of you a minute or two, but eventually you manage to pull him out. You're getting pretty tired, Jack, because that's hard work.
I guess I will speak in the other language
Mhm.
and say that we are here to help the queen and that we are here to help her get back to her people.
Okay. Interesting.
Is it still watching us?
You still feel the presence. Even if you speak in Aklo, like, you still feel the presence.
Okay.
So the chasm itself is about 3 meters wide. It is now behind you,
Yeah.
which will prevent any sort of immediate egress. Do you continue forward?
Yeah, well, we have to. I mean, there's no lip around the edge of the... Yeah.
Nope. It is working as intended. You move forward in this kind of cramped passageway for about 20 or so meters. It dips again right, just slightly. And you pick up again on the voices, Doctor. They're here. The tunnel moves a little bit left and right until you can see something you hadn't seen before. And that's the flickering of torchlight ahead.
Okay. I want to dim the lights, going down the ground so we don't...
Cover them.
Yeah.
You continue forward enough to get the smell of burning wood in your nose. You can smell those torches now and the oils. And you feel a very cold breeze move through the tunnels from behind you, through you, and forward. The main tunnel width is just ahead.
Once we get close enough that we can kind of see with the torchlight, I want to turn the lights off.
Okay.
Can we hear like the language now?
It's Arabic.
What are they saying?
They are... Someone is making a series of orders. They're preparing something. Whatever it is they're doing, they seem to be moving things. You're talking about moving people.
Moving people.
Step back away from the entryway a little bit. Gesture them, gather a bit back. What do we think?
Well, we need to see what's going on.
Looks at Maeve. It is inadvisable for you to call a large friend. Do you have a small friend who could go and take a look for us?
I look at Slander. I ask him in Aklo to see friend or foe.
So from the outside perspective, she picks up a thick asp. She speaks to it in some strange tongue, and the snake slithers forward.
Oh, Jesus.
Allah would not
No,
be okay with this.
I must be losing my mind.
The snake moves forward and then eventually right. You don't really get any impressions of that. How long are you going to wait in this tunnel?
Well, can I feel like how far away he is? Or...
Not really.
Okay.
I can tell you that Miss Lane is closer than the snake is.
I'm going to try to sneak up a little bit, see if I can see around the corner.
Give me a stealth roll.
I'm not sneaky, hence me
I
knocking
am,
over shelves.
however. So that is 25 under 82. So that is a hard success.
It's contested. You sneak forward a little bit. You come to the corner of where your tunnel and the main tunnel is. It isn't terribly far through that main tunnel area. If you're going to continue, it dips right again, and you see the snake dipping right. And as you do, if you continue to follow it, once you make that last bend, you see something unbelievable. The space beyond here opens up into a massive football stadium-sized expanse. It's an underground chamber that has been beautifully rendered and carved with a mass of just ornate Egyptian architecture. You see beautiful floor-to-ceiling columns. It looks like a room fit for a king. There are wide steps down from your position. You can see that the snake basically continuing on down these steps. They're very wide. You see in this main expanse, this massive chamber, the floor is black marble. There are a few torches in the distance in this chamber, give you a little bit of light. This black marble is flecked with little bits of white. It's a space so vast you can't see the end of it. Numerous pillars support this chamber. And from the figures who move that you can see in the distance, each wear a very telltale robe and inverted ankh. And then as you give yourself that next hearth breath to stare around the chamber, the snake is quickly making its way back to you. And it's moving at a high rate of speed. Give me a spot hidden roll, Jack.
3,399.
Won't require a sanity roll because you've seen them before. But you see a roughly 8 to 9 foot tall man with the upper half of a dog. He carries a wide spear, and his snout is curled up just a little bit like a dog's would be if it was smelling food. And his eyes are, that whole head is beginning to move around as if it senses something.
Okay, time to go.
Whatever this place is, it beggars belief. The snake passes you.
And I am quickly behind it.
Indeed. You exit back out towards your friends, left once, left twice, and then you come upon the group. The snake eventually returns. And you get the pheromonal sense that it is afraid.
There's a massive cavern over there. Up there, it's like they've built some kind of temple or something there, and there is another one of those men creatures coming this way.
Awesome.
If we end up fighting, no guns, because we don't want to make that kind of noise. There's brotherhood out there.
Okay.
How many?
How many in armor?
From what you saw, Jack, there were probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5
But
so
not-
far, but it's so big, I don't know. There's probably more.
So what do you want me to do?
Don't shoot them.
I don't have a gun.
Well then,
Let's see what happens first.
How would you like to view what happens?
What?
How would you like to view what happens? You said, let's see what happens
No.
first. So you're going to sit in this side tunnel and see if you get caught.
I mean, we have nowhere else to go.
I mean,
Other than back the way we came.
How long does it take to do the circle of warding?
it's a casting, but then you have to concentrate on it.
Okay.
I
Sure.
had to look up the rounds on it, but
Yeah, because otherwise I'll start doing that around us.
Mm. You wait a few moments. Seconds tick by like an eternity, but nothing ever comes into this hallway.
Is that present still? Can I feel it?
You feel it even heavier now. It would be as if someone was behind you watching you. And every time you turned your back to try to see them, they were behind you again.
Okay. My issue is that I think we could probably take the Brotherhood in a rush, maybe even a couple of these creatures. If Omar Al-Shakti's down there, that's a whole nother situation.
Kettle of fishes.
Yeah.
It did appear, though, Jack, that the cultists that were in there were near the back of the chamber. They were doing something. It was hard to see what they were doing because you weren't close enough, because it's such a deep chamber.
Right.
And I don't know what Otto shared, if he shared that they're giving orders, or I don't know what he told you, what they're saying. But either way, there's something happening in there.
Okay, so the voices, talking, do I recognize any of the voices? Because I did hear...
You did hear
Yeah.
Omar speak. Or you did hear the figure in the streets speak.
Right, which I assume is Omar.
You are assuming is Omar. No, you did not hear that voice.
Okay. So I don't think he's there. If that's the situation, then I think we can take him.
So is this tunnel only going one way? Like there's no other offshoots that we can go around the other side of the
there
cavern?
is another half of this main tunnel you could, basically, from what you saw, Jack, it ends almost like in a V.
Okay.
And as you get into the V here, that's when it opens up into the chamber. There is another path, but you've no idea where it goes.
Right. I mean, it might loop around. It might go all the way back to somewhere else. But we have to get in that chamber because I'm guessing that's probably where the queen is.
It's a reasonable assumption.
I also have a feeling he already knows we're here.
Somebody, maybe. Do you have a gun on you, Lillian?
No, because all our stuff was packed up. All I have is my hatchet. I didn't bring a gun.
Well, here, you can take my backup piece, my 38.
Fish
Okay.
Betty out of the bag.
Okay,
I'm staying behind everybody that shoots.
that makes sense. Caster's in the back.
I pull my hatchet and swap my crutch to the other side.
Don't you have a sword?
I do, don't I? Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
I
You
put
have
the
a-
hatchet away and
You pull out a scimitar.
Doctor, I want you to stick close to Maeve.
Absolutely.
Watch her. Otto, you should swing out to the side. You're gonna need to come around. I'll be the tip of the spear, as it were. Oh, by the way, this creature is a dog-headed thing with a spear.
So is Maeve going to concentrate on the dog-headed thing with the spear?
I was told to wait.
Do you have any kind of power to do something?
Yeah, I have lots of things. It's just how much do you want it to cost and how big do you want it to be?
We don't want it too big. We don't want it to cost you too much. Because God knows what else we're going to be facing.
did it look like this thing was working with them?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to hand you a vial.
Okay.
Drink this and immediately breathe out. It will give you a few seconds to like a minute to get behind cover.
Oh, you create that mist that
Mhm.
okay.
I do have that. Everything else is kind of touchy. Unless you want the big guy. I mean, I have stuff in a pinch that I can do. Here's the thing, is if it gets to that point and you start hearing me sing insanely loud, do not look
Mhm.
at me and try and
Okay.
look at the ground.
Okay.
I also fish out of the doc's bag a couple of ammonium nitrate ampules,
Okay,
smelling salts.
certainly.
The moment Jack says that it's a dog with a spear,
Oh, nice.
They don't like smelling salts.
nothing with that good of a sense of smell like ammonium nitrate.
All right. Are we ready?
Define ready, Jack.
Mm.
Well,
Are we ever?
I am very dubious about this.
I can get that. So you head back in?
yeah.
So much as before, when the group of you head back in, this chamber is enormous. It opens up very wide. It's almost like a cathedral in that way, right? It's a big, wide chamber. And you notice something kind of as you first get into the chamber. Not only are there these very wide steps that lead down into it, the floor, again, as I mentioned before, is black marble. It is somewhat accented by little white specks. As you're entering the chamber, about 30 yards or so to your left, you see that there's a creature. There's some enormous humanoid thing is walking away from you around one of these pillars. You notice that your footsteps don't echo.
I'm going to start humming quietly to me the song that I heard when I went down by the Nile.
Okay. You feel a little bit more confident. The song helps level you out a little bit. And it's helping you deal with all of the adrenaline you're feeling.
Huddle with me.
So are you going left or right?
This creature went left?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
big
going
chamber.
left.
Okay. So is the idea to stalk it?
Yeah.
Well, I would like the two of you to make these stealth rolls then.
Oh, this ought to be good.
You can do it.
I am spending 7 luck to make that a success. 20 under 20.
Very good.
61 under 82.
Okay. How much distance would you like to close?
Well, we're going to have to get pretty close because I don't want to start firing. But I guess, we're going to try to get as close as we can.
Okay. You get close enough, probably within about 8 meters. This thing has not picked up on you yet. I mean, you're within shooting range easily.
How the hell with it? I really don't want to alert everybody in here with gunfire, but I'm not going to get any. I don't think we're going to get any closer.
Reasonable assumption.
So I'm going to put 3 rounds in its back.
Okay, so before you do that, systematically speaking, you're on surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So a surprise gunfire is it's as long as you hit, it's an automatic impale
Oh, okay.
because you're literally firing from surprise.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to squeeze the trigger 3 times if you don't want to.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I'll hit with 1 and then see what happens. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a 4.
Yeah, so
I'm glad I wasted that.
I am too.
So that's 12.
Plus your damage. Because it's critical damage plus rolled damage.
12.
Okay. You fire a single shot into its back, and it flexes forward and falls. Everyone behind Jack, the rest of the party, you hear the gunshot, obviously. It does not echo as much as you were expecting it to.
Sound has been dampened in here.
You hear voices in Arabic suddenly rise a little bit further down in the chamber. And the two of you, Jack and Otto, now that you're a little closer, you see that there's this chamber that has so many columns to support it here. In the middle section of some of these columns, there seems to be some sort of stairway that goes deeper down. You're not sure where that goes, but you can see the staircase there. It's a very very classically ancient Egyptian wide staircase, right? So it's like you walk into the chamber, there are columns supporting it, and in the middle of those columns, right, before the rest of the chamber continues, there's a staircase that goes back down.
Okay.
The creature falls.
All right. Well, then we will hot-foot it across the floor.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll move up then to,
Where the columns are.
yeah.
Okay. You move up to where the first set of columns are. When you move up to the first set of columns, you can see just a little bit further forward, maybe 30 or so feet, there's this staircase that kind of inverts and goes back down. Jack and Otto, you see in front of you a rather wide, dark pit. Or is it it's hard to tell because there isn't a ton of light in here. And so it's very tough to see. It's either a pit or it's like a pool of water. You'd have to get closer to see specifics.
Does it cross the entire floor?
Not the entire floor, but a large section of it.
Okay.
It's probably 20 feet wide, and it's got to be 50 plus long.
It's big.
It's big. Yeah.
I'm going to stay the hell away from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am going to gesture to the spear.
Mm-hmm. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's finely crafted.
Yeah. Can always use a spear.
I'll have the two of you make hard spot hidden rolls from there.
Nope.
14.
94.
In the distance, beyond the pool, you see something jutting up from this black floor. It is wide and white, and it looks like an altar. And there is something on top of this altar.
Altar.
Can I see where he was looking?
You'd have to get closer.
I'll move closer.
You can get close enough to Jack. Lillian, what are you doing during this time?
I am going around the other side, heading towards the human voices.
Okay. Yeah, you're seeing the same, basically columns flank this staircase that I talked about before. And then they also somewhat flank this pool that's in the middle. But beyond the pool, you see this altar, which is about 25 or so feet wide. It's massive. And on top of it, there is a ornately crafted stone sarcophagus in the distance.
Does that mean the girdle's here then?
If they have the girdle.
If she's here.
I'm gonna make my way towards the altar, but how many? Can I see other? People.
You're getting close enough to where you can start making out human forms, and you see men and women working to put out. It looks like ritual material, so like braziers and likely pharaonic masks.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're all in the robes?
Yep.
How many?
There's 4 or 5 of them working down there. They're very clearly, to your eyes, maybe setting up for a ritual.
Right. No, I got that. Is there a way? So is it a smooth altar? Can I climb it? Like.
How big is it?
All right. Well, he said it was like 25 feet, but I want to know, like, is it tall? Like, can I?
It's probably about 15 feet high.
Okay. And there's like no handholds or anything?
You couldn't tell from here. You're 100 feet away from it.
Well, then I'll keep sneaking closer.
Yeah, there's probably stairs on one side or another.
Keep sneaking closer.
Yeah.
How's your stealth?
Oh, it's not.
Well, we're going to find out.
It isn't.
I mean, I have my knife out, but I mean, that only does so much.
That doesn't make.
That's right.
It should. Why not?
Like, just in general, like, I have my knife out, so I'm stealthier.
Right? I'm going to spend 8 luck.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a 20 out.
All right. You see Maeve creep forward, and she's trying to be real quiet about it. And she keeps going forward. You keep going forward. You use the columns in the room to your advantage, and you get close enough. And 2 things you find out relatively quickly. When you get about 30 or so feet close, you realize that there are 6 or more cultists beyond the altar that are also working.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't any handholds that you can see on at least the sides of the altar that you see to be able to get up on top of it.
Okay.
It's probable that what Jack talked about is true, which is it's an altar and serviced from behind. And so maybe there's another way to get on top of it. You also find something very important, and that is there are places in this chamber that you could likely just hide in the darkness here and no one would see you. Because it's not all lit.
Mm-hmm.
Maeve, why don't you give me a occult roll?
That is 69 out of 83.
Nice. Make sure you're checking your skills that you
Yes, absolutely.
complete. That's
Yep.
probably a good idea.
I've been checking ones I ain't even done yet.
Yeah, no, I know you have. But remember that if you spend luck to complete a skill, you don't get to check that thing.
Oh, really?
Right.
You are fairly certain that this ritual is going to happen tonight. That they have everything in order.
Mm-hmm.
They are waiting for likely the right time of night. And they are going to cast this ritual. And so you have to either get that mummy out of there or you have to deal with the consequences of whatever happens if they bring her back.
I'm going to call the big guy.
Okay. So you're going to begin casting Serpent Servitor.
Yes. 5 MP, a D3 stand. I think last time it was 4 rounds.
Yeah, it takes a number of rounds. It's a D10 roll that I'll make.
Oh, okay.
It's a power roll from you.
13 out of 83. Or 16 is the
Stream, yeah.
yeah,
So it's
hard.
Okay. So you just begin casting?
Mhm.
Okay. So that's fairly noticeable to those of you who are behind her. So she gets close to one of these columns. She peeks around the column a little bit and she seems to stare at it and stare at it and stare at it. And then she comes to a resting standing position and you start hearing her voice pick up like a lot.
I have to move forward because you can't leave her exposed like that.
Right.
Yep.
Rest of the group following on Jack?
Yep.
Okay. You continue
I
forward.
had to make a decision.
That's fine.
The words that she's intoning, Otto, are, again, neither human nor any sort of religious tongue that you are used to. And she's calling something. She's beckoning to something. You can feel it in your bones.
I do not want to know. I do not want to look at. Nope, 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 nope. At this point, I am just wondering why I was the one who was supposed to be protecting her. Because
Sure.
Yeah, I probably even fall to my knees to try and, get him to.
It's a little different now. Actually, you feel.
Oh.
You feel way more in charge of his arrival,
Oh.
given your position
Oh,
within.
yeah, things have changed since the last time.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. No, you don't. You have any
Okay.
issue with calling out to him because he is yours to command.
Right.
That is the way of things. You move forward. You continue to move forward, and her voice chases you. You can hear her. Every second that grows, her voice gets louder and louder in this chamber. And that's when you begin to hear it echo back. She gets loud enough to bounce off the walls. And you can see in front of you the cultists who are down at this altar area start looking around.
So, do we need to destroy the sarcophagus?
No.
Why not? We don't want her to rise up, right? Do we want her to rise up?
I mean,
don't ask me.
At like last ditch effort, maybe I would destroy her body, but Maeve wants her intact to take somewhere.
The cultists down there turn, and you hear in Arabic, Adil, calls of danger, invaders, the unclean have arrived.
Shit.
That's right. Now it's time to start throwing some lead.
Which we will absolutely do the next time we get together. So thank you so much for joining us. Now us down deep in the chamber of some strange crawling chaos. Good night, everybody.